Well, good morning. See if you notice the change today. Different lighting, different location, and changed my shirt. Okay, so a good segue into our discussion of this altered state, which is beyond perception. So we have to imagine, okay, remember talking about Hawkins scale, where the rational mind, which obviously includes perception and judgment and all of that, has a vibratory limit of 400 on the Hawkins scale. And what we're talking about is a world, a consciousness that exists between the levels of 400 and 800, a much higher state of consciousness that is not limited to the rational mind with its perceptions and judgments and all of that. So we have to imagine how we operate in this world, this energetic reality that has a lot more to do with feelings, or not really feelings, but a different way of sensing things, of knowing things. That again is outside the limitations of the space-time grid. The space-time grid is where the rational mind operates, and things there are logical. But in this altered state, which is actually more real, one would say that as we develop our familiarity with this new earth consciousness, that the conditioned world based on perception and judgments, that we would say is an altered state. So imagine again dropping your body, and without the body, your consciousness, which will continue to exist unchanged in any way, it suddenly realizes that it's not connected any longer, tethered, confined by the body or by the space-time world. So this is what, again, I want to imagine with you. And part of our practice, like I say, is walking with one foot in eternity, where your consciousness is partly in this reality and partly in the altered state, but you begin making the shift where you call the world consciousness, the rational mind. You see that as the limited state that it is. Okay, I'm saying our tribal and egoic consciousness is a conditioned, limited state, and we don't want to be deciding. We don't want to be living our lives based on that limited reality. We want our reality, our true reality, to be defined by eternity, defined by truth, beauty, love, these spiritual principles that are truly outside of the limitations of the conditioned rational mind. Okay, so again, imagine living in a consciousness where fear, which is tribal, does not really have any power. Anger and or hatred, which is the hallmark of the egoic mind, does not really have any power. We recognize them, they exist. I have a tribal, conditioned, fear-based aspect of my consciousness, but it takes up a small space. Like I think it was Ramdas, he talked about how as we grow, we still have the same these conditioned states, but instead of seeing them any longer as demons with certain power, he would say, okay, now I see them as schmooze, just little just little playful creatures that don't really carry much weight. We recognize them, we can appreciate them. I can still decide if I look at sporting news or whatever, that, oh my God, the team that I really wanted to win lost. Oh, well, I'm a little sad about that. Okay, so that world becomes kind of like watching a movie. Turn it on, get involved, turn it off. But the steady state that we live in, that we return to after we take little excursions into the tribal and egoic dreams, the steady state is what is our reality. We come back to it. It's what is normal. It's what we want to develop as our new normal. Okay, so this whole thing we're going through collectively is intended to support you in your choice to become part of a new earth, a new normal, where fear, anger, hatred, these don't have power. Because think about the aspects of paradise or eternity. Beauty, for example. Beauty is powerful. Beauty is like ever present. If you're paying attention, if you open your eyes and see clearly, you will see beauty all around you. Now, in the beginning, we practice going to beautiful national parks or whatever in nature, a sunset or a sunrise or something like that. Oh, ooh, wow, it's so beautiful. Oh, I got to take a picture. Oh, it's so beautiful. Well, again, imagine a state of consciousness where that's normal. The beauty is no longer something amazing. It's normal. Because literally what happens is, as we awaken, as we allow enlightenment to occupy our consciousness, then beauty is something that actually we are co-creating. And that's how we can see it everywhere. Truth is something that we are co-creating. It's coming from the unmanifested, where everything is radiant beauty. Everything is a steady state of truth. And then we are bringing, it's our function again, to be the portal through which beauty and truth and love and other aspects of this spiritual wholeness, we're the portal through which those are expressed in our world. So we develop the ability to walk in the world seeing beauty, truth, love everywhere, because we bring it. It's not something that, again, remember that whole idea about seeking. If you're seeking something, like if you're seeking beauty, it means that you don't recognize beauty as a core aspect of your own being. And so you're seeking it outside yourself. If you're seeking it outside yourself, it means that you have used the egoic process of denial and projection. I've denied the beauty is an internal aspect of my being, and then I projected it as some ideal outside of me. Okay, this is the key thing that we're undoing, is this tribal and egoic limitation. The mind, it's really a form of mental illness when you don't see things clearly, when you've sort of made up a world without beauty, a world without love, a world without truth. That's an aberration. A clear mind, not limited by the rational brain, a clear mind, which is again connected to the universal mind, is always in contact with truth, beauty, love. So it feels, it knows those principles. That's why I'm saying we're beyond perception. You don't perceive something and then go, oh, that's beautiful or that's ugly. You actually know beauty as an aspect of everything. Just like you could say perfection. I would say perfection is another aspect of eternity or reality. Perfection. So maybe that's even a bigger principle than truth, beauty, or love. To be able to see perfection everywhere, that's again, you're seeing with not the body's eyes, you're seeing with your higher mind. Because the higher mind sees the perfection of everything. Remember, there is this unity, okay, that we can say that because we see perfection, truth, beauty, love everywhere, it's because it comes as a whole, as a unity. It's not like there's not separation, there's not divisions. There's one. This is again so important to keep coming back to this idea of a singularity, of the one thing. This one radiant, eternal consciousness that is, again, using us as its means of expression into the space-time world. So again, imagine if it takes imagination to consider, this would be the way that your consciousness, your mind, operates. It's just simply a shift from the world with its conditional nature. Instead of the world being what defines your consciousness, you're letting your consciousness be defined by reality, by God, by the unmanifested, by, again, it doesn't matter the name, the Tao. I like the Tao, okay? So the Tao, which is the whole that contains the duality, again, your mind is aligned with the whole, and you see the duality, but you know the duality as what it is. These are just the two aspects, the black and the white, the masculine and the feminine, the good, the bad, two aspects of the whole. In the world, everything operates via this duality, and the rational mind has been trained to perceive the duality and make judgments, make decisions, make whatever based on this duality. The shift allows us to base our mind and how it operates on the unity, the singularity, the oneness, the whole. It's just a matter of how we are seeing from within the illusion of separation or stepping outside. And again, we have this ability. I was talking last time about this idea of just imagining the pendulum and the still point at either end of the swing. Imagine your breath. And the still point between the in-breath and the out-breath, between the out-breath and the in-breath. Again, you have two still points as you breathe, and these become actual portals, windows, doorways, access points to eternity, because time stops. And we're breathing in conjunction with the world, the duality, in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath. But you can see, if you look, you can see that the in-breath and the out-breath are contained within one thing. Call it breathing. It's your function, you're being used, your body and your person need to be breathed to be alive. Right? The body and the person need the operation of the lungs, need the operation of the heart, need the operation of this brain to function in the space-time world. But we, the true self that we are, is not limited by this space-time world. Again, you will drop your body, you will drop your person, and then you, the real you, continues to exist. So what we're practicing is on a daily basis, focusing on this notion that the body and the person that you are using does not define you. You're just using it. It's a temporal device. It'll be here for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years, but that's very temporary as compared to eternity, which is billions of years. Okay, so to me, it's a simple choice to be aligned with the vastness of eternity, or to see things. You know, it's kind of interesting. If you look at your own life, I could say, okay, I, the true I that I am, has been looking through these eyes, for example, into a mirror, seeing a reflection of my body and my person. That reflection of my body and my person has changed dramatically from the time that maybe the first time I looked in a mirror, I was 1, 2 years old. My mommy maybe showed me a mirror of my little self. You know, we have photographs, right, that seem to freeze time of like when I was 6, when I was 12, when I was 18, when I was, if you look at those photos, if you line them up on the wall and look at the photos of yourself, it just keeps changing. It's radically different. The way you look, the way you think, the way you feel, ever changing. And you know from your life experiences, sometimes you've had these amazing highs and sometimes some amazing lows. Sometimes maybe your body has been critically ill. Other times your body feels pretty darn healthy and pretty good place to hang out, but it's always changing. That's what your consciousness was focused on, this ever-changing illusion. But somewhere in you was always this consciousness that was observing, and you can do it. I mean, just imagine that consciousness that was looking through your body's eyes into a mirror and seeing yourself as a 6-year-old child. That consciousness is in you in this moment. It has never changed. It is a steady state. You have always been watching your physical life, your emotional life, your mental life, ever changing, ever evolving, but it is outside of time. So, you know, in certain language, you might have said, okay, well, this is how God, you know, God was watching me. The Holy Spirit or Jesus or Buddha or whatever, some entity was watching me but it wasn't some entity. It was always you. It was your higher self. And I, in some of my talks, talked about this voice for God instructing me, guiding me, comforting me. It was always this higher self walking with me everywhere I went. Well, it wasn't walking with me. It was using me to operate in spaceship Earth. It's a fascinating thing. Again, hopefully most anybody, as they mature, becomes more reflective on, well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that this thing that appeared to change so much was always me? Because you start getting, as you get older, as you get closer to that transition, when you drop your body, you hopefully start realizing how the body and the person that you were isn't real because it kept changing. But something in you is very real and has never changed, not one iota. And so again, that's the thing that we want to identify with. And it will bring you great comfort, great confidence, because nothing any longer in that changeable world will frighten you or make you upset. There's a great line from A Course in Miracles that says, I'm never upset for the reason I think. Okay? The rational thinking mind always has reasons for the upset. The egoic mind is basically always upset. That's what it does. Its job is to be upset and then try to fix the things that don't seem to be correct or the way it wants things to be. I'm never upset for the reason I think. The I am, that sentence starts with I am. I am never upset for the reason I think. The only cause of upset is to be identified with the body person, the tribal egoic consciousness. If you identify with that, then yes, you're going to be upset. But that's the reason you're upset, is because you're identified with the illusory, changeable conditions of the world. As you shift your consciousness to the I am never upset, because I am can never be upset. The I am is totally in harmony with reality. So there's never any imbalance. There's never any upset. This will be the way you and I and others like us live in the new earth. Never carrying grievances, never having any reason to blame or shame, or we're never upset because we're not lost in the conditional dream. The world, that conditional world right now is really a mess. It's really quite a nightmare. But it's changing, just like you might have gone through a nightmare at 12. Maybe your father died or some tragedy, or your first boyfriend, girlfriend broke up with you at 16. Oh my God, a tragedy. That's what's going on in the world right now. It's losing something very dear. These structures that in the olden times seem to offer certain stability and comfort. But guess what? All structures dissolve. All structures are unstable. And so for those that are connected to, addicted to, conditioned by these structures now that are in upheaval, they feel life in upheaval. They're lost in the upheaval. One foot in eternity, it's kind of like, hey, okay, the other foot's playing in this crazy world, but this other foot is solid, totally at peace, totally able to bring acceptance, appreciation, and enthusiasm to the foot that's in the world. And this is the secret. We're operating now from a very stable position, unchangeable. Change my shirt. Big deal. Change the room I'm sitting in. Big deal. It means nothing. So please, today with me, every day, spend as much time as you're able on this. It's not an idea, it's knowledge. Spend some time with this knowledge, this knowing of what is real. And allow the illusion, allow the dream to go through the machinations that are necessary in the changeable space-time world. Changes, big changes are going to be happening or have always been happening. Kind of just depends on your perspective. You know, the idea sometimes that there was stability in that world, that was the illusion. There was never stability in the structures, whether it's governments or economic systems or whatever. Seeing the big view, our evolution over tens of thousands of years. I mean, these things that people are fixated on today, it's like, why would that seem so important? It's not. It's a little burp in the history of our species. And again, what we're entering is a remarkable, amazingly beautiful new paradigm called the Age of Aquarius, whatever. But it's something very real. And again, this higher mind has always been there, but the beings that were lost in the illusion of the space-time world, it has seemed like, wow, we're coming out of a really dark time and things are going to get much brighter. Well, the brightness has always been there. And there have been people throughout our history as a species that have seen that brightness. And we would call them masters, great philosophers, whatever. They were able to shine a bright light in a time that there wasn't really probably much hope in the immediate future of anything really evolving the way it's evolving today. I mean, we are truly on the threshold of an amazing breakthrough in the world, which will be a result of the breakthrough in our consciousness. So enjoy this amazing day. Every day is this amazing opportunity to be about the only true function that you have,